So the last race of the morning session, and it's a heat of the Princess Royal Challenge Cup for single sculls. And on the left of your picture, you have Janka van der Meulen from the Netherlands. And on the right, a name that will be familiar to many supporters of British rowing, Polly Swann. And it's such a great joy to see Polly Swann back in the sport, Mark.
Yeah, she's had her setbacks and injuries, and it is great to see her out there racing. And no better way to come back than being a single scull, show where you are, you know, it puts you out there on your own. Looking forward to see how she gets on today.
So it's a lead for the Dutch sculler in the yellow Empacher boat. At the top of your screen, Polly Swann from the Under Club rowing in a white Philippi, but Van der Meulen from Alemannia Rotterdamsche Studentenrooien Skadi Holland. Long bit of a mouthful, the names of that club. I know the regatta like to pronounce them, but she's very well and connected, and of course part of the crew, women's 4 with one blade at the World Championships last year that came 7th.
Yeah, and this is a different discipline for Polly as well. You know, we all know her for rowing with Helen in the women's pair that won in 2013, and she was European champion as well. So this is a different discipline for her, so it does take a lot of time to adapt to the single scull. It's a completely different boat, and you know, you'll see different techniques, you know, people bending their arms, keeping their arms straight, but people have their individual style in this particular boat class, so you can have the perfect technique, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the race.
We're looking at Van der Meulen in the lead, the Dutch sculler. Again, we've got these amazing shots from the drone, and you can see really just how far round at the front end of the stroke the scullers come to take the catch. It seems a little bit further than in rowing, Mark.
Yeah, you're straight up and down the boat, so you're not twisting outside the kind of hole. You're standing in the middle, driving. You know, you can just see she's got a bit of a bent arm catch there. That's her particular style.
What does bent arm catch mean?
So normally when you place the blade in the water, you'll try and hang by leaving your arms straight. You'll start to drive with your legs and your glutes, and then open up your back. And as that's finishing, then you kind of draw through the arms. So it's just hanging. You're not really trying to use the arms too much.
The thing is, I know, because I watch you, and you've got a fantastic straight arm catch because you hang off. I know I have this fault of a left I can see with Janka, and I guess she's using I'm trying to get my arms right. She's using her left arm there to bury the blade, maybe, and then the pressure of the legs come on, and probably she was a little more cultured, a little more experienced, she might get a little more speed.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying. Look, there is no perfect. There's perfect. That shot is just amazing. Just look down the course and see the crews racing down. You can see their lines, and it's, you know, I could just sit there and just watch it. I don't need to speak about it. The pictures just say what it, you know, how great it is.
So, no need for words if you're looking at it. It's the remarkable Henley Regatta course. There's been rowing here for over 175 years, and I don't think it's ever been seen in such a wonderful light as those drone shots are giving us today. Janka van der Meulen, the Dutch sculler, had a very disappointing World Championships in Amsterdam last year. 4 didn't make the big final, they came 7th, but this will be a brilliant race for her. And when she tunes in to look at these pictures,
I think this is something that the rest of the rowing world will be looking at, is these shots here. You know, these are the sort of shots we want in all racing, because they really bring you inside the kind of racing. You know, you can see the movement of both athletes, you can see the distance between the puddles. You know, it is such a beautiful motion to watch when it's done well.
I have to say, Polly Swann, we're looking at the former 2013 World's Pairs champion with Helen Glover. I mean, do you think she might make sculling her own and then fight maybe to get into the quadruple scull, or maybe even have a go at getting in the double with Catherine Granger, Mark? Yeah,
well, you know, she's trying something new. You know, she's come back from injury, so one way to find out where you are is to go in the single scull. You're trying to recover, so you're on a different program to everybody else. So it will take time for her to get back to where she was and be comfortable with her body, whatever the injury was, to be comfortable with it, that it's not going to come back. And this is a great boat class to do that in, because it really kind of teaches you a lot about yourself every single race, because you are totally relying on yourself. So it's one of those, you know, this is a pure gladiatorial race when you're on your own one-on-one. So this is, you know, it really does separate, I can't say the men from the boys, but the women from the girls, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I think we go with women from the girls. And the camera pulls back, and that's that iconic shot we saw there of the finish line that hundreds of thousands of rowers, men and women, over the years, over the 175 years of this regatta, have beaten their way down the course. And here's Janke van Meulen here to participate in the Princess Royal Challenge Cup in the single sculls.
And this is another great example of, you know, women's events coming to regatta. You know, and this is great. There's just more and more events coming in. The sport's growing all the time, and obviously the success we had at London 2012, there's just more interest. So, you know, hopefully we can keep progressing, and, you know, I'd like to say adding more events.
So Janke van Meulen, she's a great propagator of eating the right foods and being healthy, and I think she's even written a book on the subject of how you can eat healthily, how you can prepare healthily, and the nutrition that you need to have for the sport, if I've got that right. And I guess that's one of the reasons she's here, to promote that healthy style and healthy outlook. And of course, rowers, so important for them to get their nutrition right, Mark.
Yeah, that kind of balance of kind of workout, what food you're taking in to feed the engine is extremely important, especially with the mileage that we do in the sport, the weight training. You know, you've got to stay on top of that, because the last thing you want to do is get sick or injured and kind of set you back. So you're always looking at every angle to look after you outside of when you're training. And especially as a lightweight, that's even more important when I was racing, you know, because you don't have the calorie intakes of the heavyweights, because you're always trying to lose weight.
So the last race of the morning's programme, I know it's gone 12:30 now, but we call this the morning's programme at Henley. And Janke van Meulen, the Dutch sculler, has defeated Polly Swann, recovering from injury. The Leander Club woman has had a good run out down the Henley course. She'll be pleased, at least, that she's back in competition. And Janke van Meulen has managed to prevail, so she will go on. We saw Mirka Natkova, the Czech Olympic champion, race earlier this morning, but van Meulen will progress on, maybe to meet Natkova.